Hey, Warrior Saints. Glad to have you beautiful people with us as we continue our conversation from yesterday. So, all of that is kind of the backdrop and the story. Let's read some Bible.
Let's read some Bible.
All right. What do we have in there? How about Genesis? Sorry, I keep saying Genesis. Revelation concludes Genesis. How about Revelation chapter 1? It starts verses 1 and 2, the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show to his servants what must soon take place, and made it known by sending his angel to his servant John, who, here we go, verse 2, bore witness to the word of God and to the testimony of Jesus Christ, even to all that he saw.
Now, I put in there the Greek as well as the English on top of each other, and you guys can notice at home, the orange text translated two different words. The Greek text is martyrisan or emartyrisin.
Yes.
So it's the same word, that martis that we talked about earlier, and it's there in the orange.
Okay, great. That's well done, bravo. And that's, how did they translate it?
One-time witness, one-time testimony.
Testimony, right. I mean,
it's fascinating.
Yeah, and it's the same word, right? And so this book, Revelation, is a witness, a testimony to all, of Jesus Christ that he gives, we'll see later in the verses, but he gives to his seer John, who is to go out and tell all the people, right? And you can see it goes further. John is, taking this message, and in verse, I think we have 5 in there. Do we have verse 5? Grace to you and peace from him who is and who was and who is to come, and from the 7 spirits who are before his throne, and from Jesus Christ, the faithful witness, the firstborn of the dead, and the ruler of kings on earth. Do you have that Greek in there too for that verse?
Not the Greek, but the witness is highlighted in orange.
Okay.
Again.
So because o martis opistos is what it says in Greek, right? The faithful witness, the faithful martyr, Jesus Christ. He, in the book of Revelation, will be, revealed as the one who is that faithful martyr and witness. Excuse me. Anyways, it keeps going. John, is going to write this letter and encourage everyone. And I don't know if you have verse 9 of chapter 1, but the thesis of the book, of the whole thing, is I, John, verse 9, I, John, your brother, who share with you in Jesus the tribulation and the kingdom and the patient endurance, right? So this word ipomoni, to stay, to patiently endure, is the thesis. It is the call of this book. This is what he wrote it for, to all those people who are Gentile Christians who are facing the persecutions from the 3 groups we mentioned before. Don't renounce. Stay strong, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to keep going. You got to keep, it's coming for you, whether you like it or not. And the promise, the message that we hear from Jesus Christ is this message, as John puts it, of that patient endurance so that we keep going. I mean, we see this completely played out in chapter 5, which we'll get to in a little bit. But in chapter 5, I mean, the way that they talk about who is the one that is sitting on the throne, it is the one who actually endured, right? And the way that plays out is beautifully. It's that suffering brings us that endurance, and it totally shifts and flips everything that we think as a way to be a message of encouragement. The book of Revelation fascinates me because it was something like as a kid that I would always stay away from. It was always terrifying.
Right.
And then you actually start to break it down. It's a message of hope.
Hope, yeah.
It's not a threat of what's going to happen if you don't live the life that God has told us to live.
Right.
It's not a promise of fire and brimstone. It's a promise of, as you go through the suffering that you're going to go through, the endurance of that suffering, whatever it may be. Today, we're talking specifically about the extremities of the extremeness of martyrdom. Yeah. But any endurance by following God's commandments is a promise of hope.
Yep. Totally. Agreed. I mean, it's funny you say that you stayed away from it as a kid. We're all kind of afraid because we, is it real, literal, right? And people do read it literally. But one of the things that we worked hard on was at our Understanding the Bible series on our, they can visit our website and check. We did a whole series. I mean, an entire teaching of every chapter of this book, and we're going to highlight a few, today. But really bringing it all into focus, the 144,000, 666, the four horsemen, all that, fire and brimstone, and the harlot of Babylon, and the dragon and the lady, all this stuff. We explain exactly what this stuff means, because it seems, I don't think it is, but it seems to many people, let's say this, many people are told that it is cryptic.
Yeah. Well, because the imagery is haunting. I mean, if you read it at face value, the imagery that exists there is haunting. It's not that we hope it's cryptic, because the imagery that is being used, if it's literal, is terrifying.
Yeah.
And so we have to say it's cryptic. Otherwise, this is probably also where people think that the God of the Old Testament is this anger and this fire and brimstone and this throwing, and then Revelation, it's the judgment, it's what's coming, and it's really when you actually unpack it, it's not that. It's a message of hope. It's a promise of what will be the reward for that patient endurance. It's great stuff. It's really fabulous.
Yeah. We enjoyed doing that series. Anyways, check it out if you want to check it out. It is a message of hope. I agree. I love it. As well, you brought up chapter 5. Let's work our way there. The next couple of chapters, chapter 2 and 3 in the book of Revelation, is John, the seer in the book, writing 7 letters to 7 churches. And he tells them, you're doing good, all of them but one, the Church of Philadelphia, all of them but one, you're doing good, but I have this against you. And, he calls them out for something, some, sin that they've done. Philadelphia escapes with it because I think that church, Philadelphia means the brotherly love anyways, because they did the business. They loved their brothers, so they kind of got away without judgment. But in each of them, he tells them, patiently endure. And if you endure, you will get X reward, like, to eat from the tree of life. So that's why I say Genesis. Revelation wrapped it all the way back to the beginning. Adam and Eve in the garden, they could eat from the book of life, from the tree of life, and then they sinned, kicked out. Now in Revelation, at the end, when God comes to judge, Christ comes to judge, for those who stay patiently enduring, will once again get to eat from that tree of life. So chapter 2 and 3 is that,
played out.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. This is totally a tangent. It sounds a lot like Amos that we talked about last week, in the sense that he's going through all of these cities that are part of the empire and hitting on all of these things, all of these transgressions that they're doing. He has one issue with each of them, whereas Amos had lots of issues with all of them. But he flips the script differently than Amos, in that if they patiently endure and they tweak and they correct and they turn back, then there's still the chance.
Yeah.
They've still got a chance.
Yeah. And he says that in Revelation too. You're right. Like, even that one you like, that verse. I know you like that verse. You're neither hot nor cold.
Yeah.
I wish, you were one or the other.
Yeah.
But if you don't get away from lukewarm, I'll spew you out of my mouth. Right?
Yeah.
All right. So chapter 2 and 3, he calls to endurance. Chapter 4 sets the heavenly scene. It's a kind of a liturgical text, something very interesting. Ooh, I don't know if you have this. Look for, see if you can find, let me mark this so I don't lose it. Deuteronomy 17:6 or 19:15. So there's this whole thing where there are 24 elders. All right. I'm going to flip to those pages while you look for that. I found this one when we were doing this work. It's great. What did I tell you? 17.
17:6.
Is that what I said? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Well, now I'm in Deuteronomy. Let's make sure it's right. Yeah. So there's the scene, the heavenly scene, and it's got 24 elders, and they each have thrones, and everyone's like trying to figure out what's the deal with the 24. Look, it's the 12 tribes or the 12 apostles, right? The number 12 in Revelation is, all the numbers in Revelation are not, quantitative. They are qualitative. So they mean something. It's not about a number of a specific count. Why 24 then? Because there have to be 2 witnesses, right? So in Deuteronomy 17:6, we hear, this is Moses giving the law out, okay? On the evidence of 2 witnesses or of 3 witnesses, he that is to die shall be put to death. A person shall not be put to death on the evidence of one witness. And the other one was 19:15, right? A single witness, oh, look in my Bible, I even put Revelation 4. A single witness shall not prevail against a man for any crime or for any wrong in connection with any offense that is committed only on the evidence of two witnesses or of three witnesses and so on, right? It's interesting because, like, in other words, one guy can't come and slander you and wreck your life or have you put to death, which is why in the Gospels, they had to find witnesses. They couldn't get anybody to testify against Jesus. And finally, two witnesses came forward, right? So it's got to be corroborated, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's happening in Revelation 4 in this heavenly scene. God is seated on the throne, and there are 24 who are from each tribe, two of them witnessing God. All of that, witnessing God as the God. All of that.
Hey, Warrior Saints, thank you so much for being with us. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, and share. It helps us get the word out there. And if you want more, visit us at warriorsaints.org and subscribe to Understanding the Bible. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.